Hey everyone, this is another video review. This is the Transformers Legends LG55 Slugslinger with Targetmaster Caliburst. As you can see, he's a blue and white space jet thingy with a, blue and white, or blue and silver Targetmaster guy. But first, of course, box, because we don't get a whole lot of Legends boxes on this channel. Yes, you can see it's Transformers and the Legends logo, and they look nice artwork there, and a little spot for the Headmaster, and yeah, it's a big old open space where the figure was. On top you see more, oh yeah, look, there's a little Headmaster, and that's him going on the plugging on there. There's a bunch of warnings or something down here. A nice artwork here, more of the nice artwork on this side. On this side you got, oh hey look, this is how all works, kind of. And on the back you got a whole bunch of more pictures and a bunch of stuff I can't read, personally. That's the box. And in the box is, well, the instructions, which barely fit. I'm going to point the camera. There we go. There we go. Yeah, instructions and tech specs and pictures. See, instructions, all that stuff. And, well, there's also a comic thing, which, again, I'm pretty sure someone's been translating these, and there's just been, let's just say there's been some dialogue about these comics. Anyway, moving on to the actual figure himself. This is, yep, Slugslinger. This is the Japanese version, which means slightly different deco. Yes, you can see it's a blue and white space jet with translucent cockpits, which actually aren't functional because they're too small for Titanmasters. Got a little gold striping here and little Decepticon logos on his wings. So, well, overall, very nice looking thing. It's got, the wings are curled down a little bit. It's very obviously the same mold as Triggerhappy and Misfire. You can see the robot mode just kind of chilling out underneath. No landing gear or anything. But it's cool, you got the cockpit for the Titanmaster there. And, nice little silver painted vents for the, or thrusters or whatever. Thrusters, whatever you want to call them. It's a really nice jet. It's nice and whooshable. It's, well, again, Triggerhappy and Misfire is the same mold as them, so a lot of their all those strengths and weaknesses. And once again, thankfully, Tamashii stage port, which means Tamashii stage. I'm going to go ahead and just use this lower one right here. Only thing is because it's in the back, you got this weird thing of, well, it's in the back, so it's kind of, all the weight is right on the front, so if you use one of these arms, you better hope your Tamashii stage is nice and tight. Yeah, it's, so it's compatible in this mode, but just in the back. Real quick to compare him. Here's mold mates. These are the Hasbro versions, mind you. Triggerhappy and Misfire. Again, you can see the common element between them. The back half right there. You can see how they're pretty much that part's identical. You can see a lot of the similar transformation cues, particularly these two. These two share more in common with each other than they do with Triggerhappy. Triggerhappy's transformation is very different compared to these two. These two have very almost identical transformations. In fact, I would say they're outright almost entirely identical, just some minor adjustments, particularly for the wings. But again, nice mold. And if it wasn't for Triggerhappy, I'd honestly say he'd be well, the one to go for. But well, Triggerhappy exists, and quite frankly, I'm still of the opinion that Triggerhappy is still the best one. But this is not bad. Don't get me wrong on that. It's still, because it's the same mold, it's still a good figure, and it's good. I guess this kind of this Neo Seeker trio, I guess, of sorts that people have started making with these three. Anyway, here's Caliburst. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in because he's a small guy. See if I can have the focus cooperate with me this time. There we go. Yeah, it's Caliburst. This is the reason I want to get one of the Legends versions for once, just because I want to see one of these figures. And it's actually pretty nice. It's a, pretty big. It's noticeably larger than a Titanmaster. It's, blue, silver. See a nice golden helmet, or face there with red visor picked out. He's got silver on his arms. It's actually not bad. You can, see a big old gun just strapped to his back too. It's actually not too bad of a figure. I wish I had more articulation, but at this size, I kind of understand why they might skip that. But he does have some decent articulation. He can twist his head left and right. His elbows, or not elbows, well, shoulders can move forward and back. They move outward a bit too, because they're on ball joints. No elbow articulation, no wrist, nothing like that. You see cutouts, but there's nothing for like forward motion or anything. At least none that I'm gonna find. And no waist, because, well, the way he transforms into a gun prohibits that. But he does have hips that move forward pretty far. They move back pretty far, but the gun gets in the way. They'd probably move back further if it wasn't for that. No thigh swivels, but the knees are on ball joints, so they can move. They can move left and right, no problem, and they can curl up pretty far actually. So you got that. My big thing here is this peg just sticking out of the chest. That's unfortunate. I wish it pushed in or something. I just wish that something could be done about that, but, well, it just sticks out, unfortunately. But other than that, it's actually a pretty good looking robot. Caliburst here. Because, well, in the US version, the Headmaster is Caliburst. But here, it's, yeah. Whatever. Oops. And transforming this guy is pretty straightforward. You just twist at the knees, below the knees, twist the legs so the heels are facing each other. Take the head, spin it around 180. It's also, mine is very tight. Then take the gun here, move it down, and you want to take these tabs on the legs, and they'll peg into little slots right here on the gun. We'll kind of move them together. And take this, at the waist, you take it and fold it back so that the head goes into the gun here. Like so. And you're pretty much done. You got a gun mode. Kind of a interesting gun mode, but it's a gun mode. I'm not sure what this is on top, but sure. It's also got lots of clear, translucent plastic here, clear plastic for the gun barrel, which makes me wonder. It's an interesting way to do things. I did notice there's a hole here, so if it's a peg you want to put it on, there's a hole right there for a peg to go in. But there's also this peg here, which of course means there's a peg hole here on the vehicle, on the jet, and you can peg right into that. And this is his only weapon, by the way. No other guns, no other rifles or pistols or anything. Just the Caliburst here. So you got this just big old gun just chilling out on the roof of this jet. It's it looks, well, kind of looks ridiculous. I believe this can still peg in down here as well, but yeah, you can put it off to the side if you want. But of course, once again, you got the whole, oh, there's only one gun. If you got another Targetmaster, then great, but still, you can do that if you want. But again, it's kind of unbalanced. So if you don't like asymmetry, well, too bad. Put him off to the side for now. We're just gonna leave him in his gun mode because, well, no reason not to. But yeah, the cockpit for the Targetmaster or Headmaster or whatever, right here. Open that up. You can also, get your finger on these little tabs. Open that up. It's translucent blue. Pull him out. Pull him out. And yeah, it's a Takara one, so a little bit more paint than the Hasbro ones. You see a little bit. In this one, it's very much a case of very little more. It's a little bit of gold on the shoulders, and a red visor, and a white face, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a whole lot beyond that. It's not a whole lot there, if I'm going to be honest. So much for a ton of paint. But he transforms pretty easily. You can just fold him up. And then you got his head. Decent sculpt. Nice big blue helmet. A little bit of a detailing up here, I guess. Or molded detailing stuff up here in the head crest. Nicely painted face. Gray with red eyes. Nicely red. And kind of a weird look on his face. Kind of sort of looks like maybe it's a smirk of sorts. I can't really tell. It's or just like he's just pursing his lips in a weird way. I'm not sure. Or he just has his mouth slightly open like he's about to talk or something. Anyway, it's a decent head sculpt. So, yeah, that's the head. So, probably should go ahead and get to the transformation. And to do so, start off with the wings here. You want to untab them by moving them up like this. Then untab the arms from the sides, which mine are really sometimes really tightly. This one particularly kind of are tight in there, so took a couple transformations before they loosened up enough that I felt I wasn't going to break it. So untab all that, then take the legs and move it back like this, straighten them out, unfold the feet, which they should go out straight because of how they are, and go ahead and separate them, and then take the waist piece here and collapse it in. This is almost identical to Misfire's. And of course move the legs so that they are rotate forward as much as you can. Take the cockpits, untab them, and move them on this little armature and pull them flat against the back. I'm going to go ahead and move this up a little bit. And then take the arms and move them up. There's a little tab here. They'll go in the slot here. And then fold the fists out. And take the headmaster, who is, I guess, according to the Japanese canon, this is Slugslinger, and it just plugs into here. And boom. You got Slugslinger's full-blown robot mode. You take his gun and plug into either hand. It's not the greatest connection because that peg is so short, but it holds well enough that I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, it's actually pretty good looking robot mode. Again, this is a really golden mold and I really love it. And I'm not alone in that, obviously. Again, more camera adjustment. I'm not alone in thinking this is a really, really good robot mode. Or just transformation mold in general. I like this robot mode. It's really good in general. This stuff packs away cleanly. The wings kind of stick up, but it's kind of expected. I know the G1 version had the wings sitting down, but I kind of wish these like slid up or folded up or something. I know it's an extra hinge or something, but I wish they like moved up or something, at least with the arms, which oddly enough, you can still see there's a mushroom peg slot left over from Misfire because they didn't do that much remolding. But yeah, you got that. Interestingly enough, I'm noticing with my Hasbro Triggerhappy and Misfire, the hands kind of click into place. Doesn't do that on this one. I'm not sure if it's a guitar. Either hand, it's just kind of moves in and then doesn't really lock in or anything, so the hands can accidentally move inward a little bit. But again, it is a good looking one. I know there's some small differences between this and the American version or Hasbro version. You got these gold circles picked out. You got the Decepticon logo. These silver, I guess, gunmetal colored venting on the shoulders. Got again the gold line from before. Now on the kneecaps. I almost forgot these Titan Master pegs are right there too, or Headmaster, Titan Master, whatever. Those pegs are there if you want. But yeah, there's the white and blue again. The white and blue contrast really well, so the whole thing, just every single color on here pops. There's not a whole lot of paint, but where it's applied is really well done. And I think the Hasbro version, I've seen the Hasbro version in person, it also looks pretty good as well, in my opinion. Slightly different paint apps, but really not much different. Unless you got a little bit of blue here, I guess, from the vents. So you got a little bit of blue here. Yeah, it's a nice figure. I really like it, but of course I still feel Triggerhappy is the best of the three. If I didn't, just knock him over like that, but I still feel like the first one is the best one in my opinion. Triggerhappy is still, I think, the one to get, either the car or Hasbro version in my opinion. I saw the car version; it's actually pretty nice too, but I think I have a slight preference for the Hasbro version here, though. But it's the best just because I feel, one, it has the best looking robot mode, and two, it's got the best transformation because of that whole crazy cockpit swivel thing they do. Whereas these kind of fold up on the back and it's done. I mean, don't get me wrong, these are pretty nice, but these are really nice. They're really good figures in their own right, but Triggerhappy just kind of shines that much brighter. Curiously enough, interesting little thing. The car version, they swapped the crotch pieces around on these figures, so these two have the same crotch piece, but even though they're not supposed to, they're swapped for some reason. If you get the Hasbro version, you're going to get the crotch piece is completely different, and vice versa with the Misfire here. It's kind of weird, but okay, sure. It doesn't really affect things that much, but it's just kind of an interesting thing that they did. Anyway, posability. Head is a Targetmaster, so can look. It's technically on a ball joint, so it can look left and right. Can technically look up and down, but it's so limited that it's pretty much useless. Shoulders, forward and back, outward. There's this dedicated hinge for the outward, kind of right there. You can see that right there. But yeah, you got the dedicated and forward and back and outward. Bicep swivels. Nice and tight, and that just came out. But yeah, bicep swivels. Hinge elbows, which more than 90 degrees. Nice curl there, actually. Good for a lot of poses. I guess the hands can move in a little bit, but that's only helpful in very specific poses. There's a waist there. Works pretty well, unhindered. Hips, forward, back. Pretty far until they will bang into the jet cockpit. And yeah. Outward, also pretty far. You can do full splits quite easily. Thigh swivels, nice and tight. Knees, because again, how the way he transforms, you got quite a deep knee bend. And his feet, his ankles can move forward and back quite a bit. Back a lot, actually. But yeah, you can have that. Plus, you got the heels on a separate thing, so you can, if you want to, you can have the heel come down a little bit to help support if you need it to. So, and I guess you can adjust how you have these wings displayed. You can move them back a little bit, more forward, whatever you want to do. And again, the biggest thing here is, I'm not sure if this is a common problem. I suspect it is, though, but not the greatest at holding this in his hand. It's kind of loose. And again, because the peg's so shallow, it exacerbates the problem. I wish it was I wish it was a longer peg that would hold it a lot better in his hand. Now, is it worth getting the car version? That's a question. It might be easier right now because the Hasbro version is really difficult to find because it just kind of gave up towards the end. I saw one in person. I was shocked I did in retail. I think several stores still have them. Online stores still have them in stock, so you might want to check the Hasbro version. This guy's expensive, though. I think this cost me like $30-something for this one, which is quite a markup for... that was before shipping. That's quite a markup compared to the Hasbro version. But the Hasbro version in and of itself is pretty darn good. The only thing is, you're not going to get this gun. You're going to get a more standard blaster or something. I wish this guy also came with a standard blaster as well as this gun, just, I guess, for the sake of more guns. But he's kind of spendy, and he's really not that much different from the Hasbro version. I think the biggest thing here, if I recall, is the paint on the chest is different, and I think the Hasbro version is just a solid color here, but it has paint elsewhere. I'm trying to remember from the top of my head, but honestly, I think the Hasbro version is good enough that this is only if you're really like this, or really want the Targetmaster, or you just really like the paint scheme more. I believe they are different shades of blue. I think the Hasbro version might be a lighter shade of blue than this guy. This guy's a darker shade of blue because of cartoon toy differences. It might not be outright worth getting this guy for like whatever, I think the $35 or whatever, plus the shipping it would cost to get it from Japan. That's minimum. It might cost you more depending on where you go. It may or may not be worth it. It really depends on your personal preferences. I think personally, the Hasbro version might be good enough for a lot of people, but I understand a lot of people might also really want the extra paint and the Targetmaster here. So it really comes down to that. I don't have the Hasbro version. I didn't get it because I was getting this guy. So I think this is a really cool figure, but again, I'm not sure if it's worth that much more. I just kind of wanted to check out one of these Targetmasters. I'm kind of a little let down by that. It's not as great as I thought it would be. I mean, it's a Targetmaster, but I mean, it's all right. And kind of this particular one kind of looks a little goofy in the gun mode because of this giant thing on top of it. But I don't regret it. But at the same time, I think it might not be worth that much more. But I don't know, because Hasbro really stepped up the game for when it came to the deluxes. So yeah, it just kind of comes down to whether or not this deco is really worth that much extra to you. Anyway, it's a solid mold, so if you can get the Hasbro version, go for it. If you don't mind the Hasbro version, definitely go for it. But if you need the Dakar version, yeah, it's still a good mold. Just again, I prefer Triggerhappy. So yeah, that's it. That's my ramblingness for this version of this figure, Slugslinger here. So I hope you found this interesting and or informative. And I shall see you next time.